Hi guys, happy Earth Day. It is April the 22nd and that is Earth Day. And I want to wish you guys a happy Earth Day, and I want to finish our Ready Freddy Save the Earth. Tomorrow we'll talk about it on Zoom, and you guys let me know what you thought about it, and let me know if you did any of the Earth Day Challenge activities that Mrs. Whooshy gave to Freddie's class. So we are starting in chapter 6, and we're going to finish the book today, and let's see if Freddie is able to complete the 10 item list of Earth Day Challenge. Chapter 6, Worms and Trash. When the bell rang for the end of lunch, Chloe was about to throw out all her trash. "Wait," said Jessie, pulling her back from the trash can. "Remember, Mrs. Whooshy said we're supposed to bring all of our trash back to the classroom." "But it's sticky and gross, and it's going to make my lunchbox all stinky," said Chloe, wrinkling up her nose. "You are such a princess," said Jessie, shaking her head. "Just give me your trash. I'll carry it for you." When we got back to the classroom, Mrs. Whooshy had put some newspaper down on the floor. "Please put your lunch trash on these papers," she said. We all pulled our trash out and piled it up on the floor. "Wow, that's a lot of trash," said Jessie. "You can say that again," I said. "Think about what you throw away every day at lunch," said Mrs. Whooshy. "My sandwich bag," said Jessie. "The wrapper my granola bar was in," I said. "My napkin," said Max. I didn't even know he used a napkin," I whispered to Jessie. Jessie giggled. "The bag from my chips," said Robbie. "Now think about how much trash every school collects in one day," said Mrs. Whooshy. "All of that goes into landfills." "What's a landfill?" said Chloe. "It's a big hole in the ground where we throw all the trash that the garbage people collect," Mrs. Whooshy said. "There are a lot of landfills," said Robbie. "Yes, there are," said Mrs. Whooshy. "If we aren't careful, soon our planet will be covered in trash. And this trash pollutes the air and water." And there is a little picture right there. And it's kind of showing a landfill, and he's up there on that big pile and mound of trash. "That's disgusting," said Chloe. "But what can we do?" said Jessie. "All of this trash does not have to go into the landfill," said Mrs. Whooshy. "What do you mean?" said Max. "Well, some of this stuff can be recycled," said Robbie. "Now you're on the right track," said Mrs. Whooshy. "If you have anything that can be recycled, then put it over here on this paper." "I have a water bottle," Max said. I leaned over to Robbie and whispered, "I brought a reusable water bottle today. That was number 4 on the challenge list." "Me too," Robbie whispered back. "I have the plastic container from my applesauce," said Jessie. Max poked Chloe. "Hey, ding dong, you have something that goes in the recycling pile." "Keep your dirty little hands off of me," said Chloe. "None of my trash can be recycled." "Yes, it can," said Max. "Oh, yeah? What?" said Chloe, glaring at Max. Your yogurt container." "No, it can't." "Yes, it can." "No, it can't." "Yes, it can," said Max. "Enough, you two," said Mrs. Whooshy. "Yes, Chloe, your yogurt container can be recycled." "Well, my mom never recycles them at home." "Now that you know it can be recycled," said Mrs. Whooshy, "you can tell your mom." Jessie picked up the container and put it in the recycling pile. "Thank you, Jessie," said Mrs. Whooshy. Jessie smiled. "No problem. This is fun." "Now, is there anything else we can do with this trash?" asked Mrs. Whooshy. We all stared at Mrs. Whooshy and shook our heads. Well, all of us except Robbie the science genius. We could compost some of this stuff, said Robbie. Hey, Brain, said Max, what's compost? You'd like it, said Robbie, because composting uses worms. Cool, said Max. Ew, said Chloe. I hate worms. But they help make the soil really good for planting, said Robbie. That's right, said Mrs. Whooshy. If you have a compost bin, then you can throw some of your food trash in there, like this leftover sandwich crust or this banana peel. But isn't that just like throwing it away? I said. Not exactly, said Mrs. Whooshy. If you throw the food scraps in the compost, then the worms break down the food and use it to make really rich soil that is good for your garden. Cool, said Max. I wish I could see one. If you want to make a small compost bin for our classroom, I can show you how to do that tomorrow, said Mrs. Whooshy. Yes, 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 we all said. And there's a picture that they're going to make, a compost bin. And it shows everything layered and piled up in there. And you can even see a little worm in there working its way through. All right. They are really very easy to make. I will bring in the bin. The bottom has to be lined with newspaper. So, if you could all bring in some newspaper to make the worm bedding, that would be great. I have lots of newspaper in my recycling bin at home, I said. Me too, said Robbie. Besides, said Mrs. Whooshy, recycling is the number one on Earth Day challenge list. If you bring in newspaper, then you are one step closer to becoming a member of the green team. Remember, the challenge ends tomorrow. The challenge. I was having so much fun today, I almost forgot about the challenge. Time was running out, and I still had 4 more things to do. Chapter 7. Reduce, reuse, recycle. When I got home from school, my mom said, I have to run to the grocery store. Do you want to go with me, Freddy? Sure, Mom, I said. I'm just going to jot down a quick grocery list. My mom reached for a new piece of paper. Wait, Mom, I said. Use this. I handed her a paper that had a note written on one side. But this paper has something on it already. But only on one side. You can write your list on the other side, I said. You're right, Freddy. Why waste a perfectly clean piece of paper for my list? I can certainly use this piece you gave me. I smiled. Using 2 sides of paper was number 8 on the list. All right, I think I'm ready, said my mom as she finished writing. Let's go. I have to buy some things for dinner and start cooking, or we're never going to eat tonight. She started toward the door. Mom, you forgot something again. What did I forget this time? The cloth grocery bags, I said. Good thing you reminded me, she said. I almost never remember them until I'm at the grocery store, and then it's too late. You should just leave them in the trunk all the time. Then you'll always have them with you, I said. How did you get to be so smart? Mom said, giving me a hug. Bringing cloth bags to the grocery store was number 7 on the list. I was almost done. Only 2 more to go. And there's Robbie, Freddy, and his mom hugging tight. And he's so proud because he's reminded Mom of 2 things to do, and he's able to check them off the list. Later that night, after a delicious dinner of spaghetti and meatballs, I announced, it's time to get clean. Freddy, honey, are you feeling all right? Asked my mom. What do you mean? I said. I don't think I've ever heard you say you wanted to take a bath. Not a bath, a shower, I said. A shower? Asked Susie. Since when is Freddy allowed to take a shower? It's none of your beeswax, I said. Yes, it is, said Susie. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Stop it, both of you, said my dad. Freddy, since when do you take showers? Since I found out that taking a shower uses up half as much of water as taking a bath, I said. I never knew that, said my dad. Where did you learn that? In school. So can I take a shower? Sure, said my dad. That's not fair, said Susie. What about me? You can too, said my dad. We all have to do our part to help the planet. I turned to Susie. You're welcome, I said. My mom followed me upstairs and helped me take my first shower. I loved feeling the water sprinkling down on my head. It felt like I was standing out in the rain without an umbrella. That was awesome, I said as I stepped out of the shower. I want to do that every night. My mom laughed. Glad you enjoyed it. Now get your pajamas on before you catch a cold. I'm going back downstairs to wash the dinner dishes. I put on my pajamas and went to my room to get the Earth Day challenge list so my mom and dad could sign it. I was proud of myself for doing everything on the list. I glanced down at the paper and my heart skipped a beat. I had forgotten to do number 1 on the list. Bring recyclable items to school. No problem, I thought. That's an easy one. I was supposed to bring newspaper for the compost tomorrow anyway. I just had to go get some from the recycling bin in the garage. I ran downstairs into the garage and started digging through the recycling bin for the newspapers. Freddy, is that you? My mom called from the kitchen. Yeah, Mom, it's me. I called back. What's all that noise? I'm looking for something, I said as I continued throwing cans and empty containers onto the ground behind me. I couldn't find any newspaper. Now I was starting to panic. What if we didn't have any? If I didn't bring any newspaper tomorrow, then I wouldn't get to be a member of the green team. And there's Freddy, and he's kind of frantically looking through their recycling bin. He can't find any newspaper in there, so he's getting nervous about it. My mom walked into the garage. What are you doing out here? I can barely see you. She turned on the light. Freddy, look at this mess you're making. What are you doing? And why are you out here in the dirty garage after you've already taken a shower? I stammered. You need to tell me right now, my mom demanded. I'm sorry, Mom, I said as a tear rolled down my cheek. I just wanted Earth Day challenge. Green team, I sniffed. Freddy, calm down, my mother said. I don't understand a word you're saying. Take a deep breath and then try again. I took a deep breath and wiped my nose on my pajama sleeve. If I don't bring newspaper to school tomorrow, then I won't have done all 10 things on the Earth Day challenge list. So I won't get to be a member of the green team. Well, why didn't you just say so, said my mom. We have newspaper out here in this bin, but I just can't find any. That's because I pulled all of it out for the Girl Scout project your sister's troop is going to do next week, my mom said. Can I have some? I asked. Of course you can, honey. Before we go back in the house, I'll help you put all of this stuff you threw onto the floor back into the recycling bin. Thanks, Mom, I said as we threw everything back in. What do you need the newspaper for anyway? Asked my mom. We're going to be making a compost bin in our classroom tomorrow. The newspaper is the bedding for the worms. That sounds really interesting. I can't wait to hear all about it when you get home from school tomorrow. We went back inside and my mom gave me some newspaper. Here you go, Freddy. Is that everything on your list? Yep, I said, grinning. You just have to sign it. And then when I give it to Mrs. Whooshy tomorrow, I'll be a member of the green team. Chapter 8, Go Green. The next day, we were all putting our backpacks away in our cubbies when Chloe started running around the room screaming, "Ah!" Chloe, said Mrs. Whooshy, what's wrong? There's a worm in my cubby. Max started laughing hysterically. Ha 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 ha! Chloe, calm down, said Mrs. Whooshy. It's not going to do anything to you. Chloe covered her eyes. I can't look at it. Just get it out. Get it out, she screamed. Mrs. Whooshy slowly pulled the worm out of Chloe's cubby and held it in her hand. It's out now, Chloe. You can open your eyes. Throw it outside. Throw it outside, said Chloe. Actually, this worm is going to go into the compost bin that we make today. It's called a red wiggler. I got some last night. This little guy must have escaped from the jar I was keeping them in. Can we make the compost bin right now? Asked Jessie. Sure, said Mrs. Whooshy. If you brought newspapers in today, please bring them over to the rug. We all got out the newspapers we had brought. Mrs. Whooshy carried a big plastic bin to the rug. This is going to be our compost bin. I poked some holes in the lid. Does anybody know why? So the worms have air to breathe, said Robbie. That's right, said Mrs. Whooshy. Now we have to line the bottom of the damp paper shreds. The bottom with damp paper shreds. What do we do with the newspaper? I asked. That's going to be the worm bedding. And if you look, there's Mrs. Whooshy getting the worm out of Chloe's cubby. That's going to be the worm bedding, said Mrs. Whooshy. You all need to rip the paper into 1-inch wide strips. We all started ripping. This is fun, said Jessie. Now we make it a little bit damp by spraying some water on it, and then spread it out on the bottom of the bin. What next? Asked Max. We add some dead leaves, some grass clippings, and some food scraps, like this banana peel, this orange rind, and these crushed eggshells. But that's garbage, said Chloe. Why are we putting stinky garbage in the bin? Because that's what the worms like to eat, said Mrs. Whooshy. Chloe held her nose. P.U., she said. Finally, said Mrs. Whooshy, we add the worms. They like to be buried under the paper and food scraps, so we'll stick them under there. Now what? I said. Now the worms break down the rotting plants and food into a dark, rich soil. That's good for planting. That's amazing, said Jessie. Now I think it's time to see who finished the Earth Day challenge, said Mrs. Whooshy. If you completed the list, then please go get it and bring it back to the rug. The whole class jumped up to get their papers. Now let's see, said Mrs. Whooshy. Who finished the challenge? Everyone's hands shot up. I did, everyone shouted out. Really? Asked Mrs. Whooshy. Everyone completed everything on the list? Congratulations! That's fantastic! You are all amazing. What do I win? Asked Chloe. A pony? A pony? Said Max. You're crazy. I am not crazy. Besides, I wasn't talking to you, said Chloe. I was talking to Mrs. Whooshy. No, Chloe, said Mrs. Whooshy. In this challenge, you don't win anything. The earth does. What do you mean? The earth will be a much better place because of you, said Mrs. Whooshy. Oh, said Chloe, pouting. I thought I won a prize. Well, everybody does get a pin that says the green team. Mrs. Whooshy handed out the pins. Cool, I said. Can we put them on now? Asked Jessie. Of course you can, said Mrs. Whooshy. You should wear it proudly. I pinned mine to my shirt and smiled. Remember, said Mrs. Whooshy, we should take care of the earth every day, not just on Earth Day. Now you all know lots of ways to protect our planet, and you can share them with your friends and family. They are all so simple, said Jessie. Yeah, I said. I thought the challenge was going to be really hard, but it was actually pretty easy. Like I said before, said Mrs. Whooshy, even little things add up to make the world a better place. And there's a picture of Freddy, and he has his Earth Day pin on. And he's so proud of it, isn't he? All right. So we've got the Freddy fun pages. And maybe when you guys get back to school in August, you could check this book out and you could look at the Freddy fun pages. It just tells some different things that you can do, like Freddy's Shark Journal. It shows what he wrote in there. And it talks about joining the green team. And it gives all the ideas again. It goes down the list of everything. It talks about making the compost bin. And I have a feeling that some of you have a compost bin at your house, or you have a compost pile. Some people just put it out back in their backyard and they just throw their like leftover lettuce and leftover food and leftover like their eggshells and tomatoes, even like rotten tomatoes. If they get rotten, you can throw them in the compost pile and it'll break down, and then you can shovel that and you can put it in your garden and on your plants, and it really is a good thing. So I was going to, before I get off here, I was going to read you the Earth Day Challenge list one more time, and then you guys will know what it is. 1. Recycle cans, plastic, paper, and glass. 2. Be a power saver. Turn off lights, computers, and the television when you leave the room. 3. Turn off the water when brushing your teeth. 4. Use a reusable water bottle. 5. Pick up litter on your playground or in your neighborhood. 6. Walk or ride your bike to school as much as possible. And that's kind of hard for us to do at Franklin School, isn't it? 7. Use cloth bags instead of plastic at the grocery store. 8. Use 2 sides of a piece of paper before recycling it. 9. Use a cloth dish towel or dry your hands instead of a paper towel. And 10. Take a shower instead of a bath. Go green. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed Ready Freddy Save the Earth, and we would have done some of these activities at school. One thing that I like to do every year is take kids out on the playground, and we go around and we pick up trash, and we're always shocked at what we pick up out there. So let's think about these things, and I hope you guys enjoy your Wednesday today, Earth Day, Hump Day. It's the middle of the week. And I will talk to you tomorrow on Zoom at 1 o'clock. And we can talk about the book and any of the challenge that you want to discuss and anything else that you would like to discuss. So I'll see you guys on Zoom tomorrow. Have a great day. Happy Earth Day, 3rd grade friends. See you guys. Bye.